sent you in an email, which is I'm showing you the entire link building strategy on how to rank a brand spanking new website for competitive keywords in just a few months, right? They usually say that SEO takes a year, 2 years, but with the right approach, you can get the results that you want within 6 months. And I'm going to be breaking down exactly how we plan out link building campaigns, what outreach tools we use, what we write in the emails when we're doing outreach to build links, and how to actually get bloggers to respond, and how to turn all of this activity into a strategy that actually gets results. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm AJ Pagdell. I'm the founder of OutreachMama. We're a blogger outreach and link building service. And we built ourselves from 0 to over 90K a month in just 8 months, pretty much using the exact SEO strategies I'm about to show you. So before I dive in, a little bit of background. Well, the first time I got started in SEO was about 5 years ago. And I bought a $35 course and I had my mind completely blown that you could actually make money without a standard 9 to 5. And if any of you have bought an online course, for under $100, you probably know that there was some sort of $2,000 upsell coming. Me being pretty green to the whole space, that upsell took me by surprise, and I tried to resist it for a couple months, but eventually I opened up the wallet and I bought. And if you've ever taken a part in one of these $2,000, $3,000 courses, you realize that the reason why these trainers make so much money is because 90% of the people who buy these courses don't actually end up taking action, right? But I went ahead and I did the complete opposite. So 5 years ago, I went all in, 16-hour days. I gained like 50 pounds. I spent $30,000 on building out my own private blog network. And I started building links and I launched websites. And within just 3 months, I actually had some really good results. I had a couple sites. They were ranking on page 1. It was great. I was making money. And then this was around 2012, right? So the Google Penguin algorithm hit. And, everything I learned, all the money I spent, it was all black hat. And all of my rankings were gone. My revenue was gone. I was on page 1 one day and I was on page 10 the next day. And they say that if something doesn't kill you, you should learn from it. And I think the lesson that I learned that day was that Google, in an SEO's time of need and crisis, they can be so straightforward and supportive. Matt Cutts, I called him up. He got on the phone with me. He helped me sort everything out. No, it didn't work that way. We had no idea what to do. And my question for you is, do you think I was discouraged by that day? Yeah, big time. But what I learned from that experience and what I've learned since then is that your past really doesn't have to equal your future. And no matter where you may be on the spectrum of SEO, you can build a sustainable business online if you stop trying to take shortcuts and you build up your SEO the right way. So going back to the topic, that's exactly what we did to build up OutreachMama to the point where it is now. And was it through luck? Was it random chance? It wasn't any of that. It wasn't any secret tactic or secret technique. It was a simple tactical approach to link building that relied on 3 key components, which we'll get into in a little bit. But a strategy does take hard work. It does take some time, and it's going to take patience. But if you're willing to put in the work, I can all but guarantee that you're going to see the results, and your website will rank for keywords that actually generate sales. And it's going to happen faster than you thought possible. So we're going to get into that exact process of what to do from start to finish. And you don't need to be a genius. Trust me, I'm not. You don't need to be a great marketer, because trust me, I'm not. But if you follow these steps, you will build an SEO authority site. And all you really need is the right formula. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about some overall theory. And then we're going to get into, once you have a site, where do you go from there? And what do you need to build that successful site? Because we know that SEO is pretty straightforward. At the end of the day, it's having an optimized website, good content, good links, but the internet is full of businesses who are trying to sell you their magical SEO solutions. And case in point, we're a blogger outreach service. We're a link building service. So we're looking for customers that can use our service. But even what we offer is, it's not a magical elixir, right? It's not going to take your business and then skyrocket it to the next level. It's just like when you're building a house. You want to consider link building like the additions to the house that increase the value of the property. You know, the new pool, the hardwood floors, the granite countertops. But that doesn't mean you can skip out on the concrete foundation or the framing. And that's why there's three important things and not just one. So you start off with an optimized website. Right? You want to create good, engaging content, because even though it seems like it's a lot of upfront work, that content becomes an asset you can use over and over again. And then you want to build some really high quality premium links to just pour gasoline on the entire thing. So, I mean, we only have less than an hour, right? And we've got to focus somewhere. So I'm going to focus on the thing that's really, really important, which is real white hat link building. Now, a quick history lesson. Years ago, you could spam the hell out of the algorithms and you could rank for pretty much any keyword you could imagine. And then Google got smarter, which is right around the time I got into SEO. But now they can easily ignore spammy backlinks because they have other factors to consider. They can consider the volume of the links that are coming in, the anchor text profile, the spamminess of your backlinks. And that's why they give so much weight to quality backlinks, because those are the hardest to get. And only brands that really care about their SEO and their brand are able to get those. And you know, it's easy to say that something's hard, but what really makes it that hard? Is it just doing the outreach? Is it sending the emails? Well, here, how many of you have actually tried to do blogger outreach on your own? Just put a one in the chat box if you tried it before. Okay, nobody? Here we go. We got a couple ones. And, if you're a business owner, of course, you've tried some blogger outreach before in the past, especially if you're interested in SEO. And what usually happens, right? Well, you're probably really busy as it is. You're running a business, or you're running marketing and building up a list of websites to go after, finding the right emails, sending the emails. It takes a ton of time. And with such a tiny amount of people actually responding to your pitches, bloggers actually responding positively to your requests, that number being so low, you get discouraged, you throw in the towel, and you move on with your life, right? That's the kind of approach that I struggled with for years. And it's kind of why I kept going back to the private blog networks and the paid links route. But as Google kept getting smarter, I said, screw it, I'm just going to figure this out. And that's exactly what we're going to get into. Is I'm going to be showing you the blogger outreach strategy for building quality links, for improving the SEO rankings of your site that actually work. And more importantly, that isn't a major time suck on your life. So I want to provide some perspective first, okay? If you had one quality backlink a day for 6 months, that's enough to consider yourself an authority site, okay? Now, what if you did it for a full year and you had over 300 backlinks? What if you built 2 backlinks a day for a year and you had over close to 700 backlinks? The authority of your site would literally be stronger than 99.999% of the other websites out there. Why? Because you were just consistent with it. 700 links going from 0 sounds like a lot. 2 links a day, it's really not that much if you have the right system for it. So we're going to show you how to build that system, and I'm going to show you how to automate 90% of it. Okay, so let's talk about link opportunities. You have to remember that every link matters, especially for niches where you really don't have an ocean of opportunities. So you need to take each one of these steps in the link building process seriously. And I divided the process into 7 steps. And it's a rough estimate of the steps that are involved. There could be more, there could be less, but this is kind of how you break it down, is finding the list of emails to reach out to, qualifying them, figuring out how to email them, how to follow up with them, and then how to stay organized and how to get to the point where you're actually placing a link. Okay, so let's say that you're at the point of prospecting, and when you're starting to prospect something, it means that your website is set up, you've optimized your SEO, you know what keywords you want. You might have a quality piece of content that you want to build links to. So you've taken care of this part of the process, right? And if you don't know how to do that, that's fine. We'll go into that part of the process later. But we're assuming that you have an established site, it's got good authority, and you're ready to start building links, okay? So this is the part that can get a little tricky, because if you're doing it yourself, not only is it time consuming, but it's the most critical part of the link acquisition process. Getting the right list of sites to reach out to, it's crucial. Because you want to build a natural link profile for your website. Your prospecting activity needs to cover a wide range of opportunities to generate the right targets and leads for your project. Okay. And everything in link acquisition, it's predicated on the research. So let's take the whole process from where it started originally. Well, we're just going to start with Google, which is obviously the #1 search engine in the world. And lucky for us, especially if you're on a tight budget, it's completely free. And there's tons of opportunities. And if you know how to search with advanced operators, it makes your life much, much easier. What's an example of an advanced search operator? So let's say, for example, your keyword is link building, because our keyword is link building. So if you wanted to look for opportunities in Google where you could get links from other bloggers, and those links would be relevant for keywords related to link building, this is what you'd do, right? You'd go to Google and you type in the word link building, but it's obviously not specific enough. So what you might end up doing is, one, you could exclude certain keywords. So you might type in link building minus OutreachMama, and you have it all in quotations. Okay, or you might find somebody who writes often about link building, and you might look for places where he publishes, because you could also go after those same websites. Hey, here's some other search operators. You could do link building and OutreachMama. You could look for people who are founders or CEOs that talk about link building. You could do a site search for OutreachMama to see all the pages. And if you typed in site : OutreachMama, let's give an example here. One of my favorite searches to do is something like the keyword is link building, right? And then you might put in URL, right, for us. So these are websites that have mentioned link building somewhere in the past, and they have a page on their website where they actually want contributors to blog for them. So you've got 500 different results. A lot of these websites are actually really high authority, and if you can come correct with good content, you can build up a list of 1,000 of these type of opportunities, right? And each of these pages, they go into, well, what they're looking for, what they prefer to publish, how long they should be. So this is one opportunity for you to build really high quality backlinks if you have time to do these things manually. Okay, but if you want to really ramp up the prospecting, if you want to build a list of hundreds of sites and you want to do it quickly and you don't have time to do things one by one, or you don't have the inclination, then what do you do? Well, lucky for us, there's tons and tons of tools, and an ocean of tools that can help you with prospecting. And here's a few of them, and I'm going to kind of just run through them quickly, give you the pros and cons of each one. Dibs is a tool that I came across pretty recently, actually. It's an advanced link prospecting tool. And the thing that I just did with Google, it actually does that, and it does it at scale. It's designed to save you time, simplify the process, and help you find more opportunities. So, imagine an army of 5 virtual assistants doing your prospecting, analysis, email finding. It's what Dibs does. It's a little pricey, but if you have the budget, it's worth all the time saving. So let's have a look at the tool. As you can see, the inside of the tool, you have the possibility to perform a search for specific keywords here. Okay. Further along, you can actually take these keywords and combine them with other keywords. Here's some search operators like we talked about. And Dibs will run this search. And once you go ahead and fill all that stuff out, it's going to do its thing. It's going to identify thousands and thousands of searches, and it'll run some numbers as well to filter out spammy results. It'll filter out maybe some foreign TLDs, so you can focus on the .coms and other more high quality sites, and it overall just saves you time, right? hrefs.com is another one that I like using, and it'll help you learn why your competitors are ranking so high and what you need to do to outrank them. It's probably my single most go-to strategy, because there's a lot of different things you can do with it. I mean, their index is bigger and it updates faster than a lot of the competitors. They have Content Explorer, Keyword Explorer. They analyze top pages. You can look at your competitors, what their backlinks are. I like to see how they track the rankings, so you can see how your overall site is doing. And they'll show you broken pages. You can compare metrics from different competitors, and there's even potential in the new stuff that they're launching, like the keyword tool. So Majestic is another one. It's similar to Ahrefs. Okay. You can also put in keywords, you can put in URLs, it gives you backlinks. The only reason why I use Ahrefs is I'm probably more used to it, and I also find that it has more backlinks in the index. Now, Moz is, if you've been in the SEO game, you probably heard of Moz, and for good reason. They've been around for years. They create amazing content on their site. If you're looking for SEO 101 stuff, go to moz.com, search for beginner SEO tutorials. It's really good stuff. And they've also got a really easy to understand metric, which is called domain authority. Now, from an SEO perspective, like me, explaining to somebody that the authority of their website is at a 20 out of 100 and they need to get to a 40 out of 100 is a very easy argument to make. So that's why I like using that metric. Although I will say that it's hard to understand how they count the backlinks or how big their index is, because they capture maybe 20% of what Majestic and Ahrefs is able to capture. So I tend to focus on using them, but just for the domain authority. And if you don't want to pay the $150 a month for Moz, and I don't blame you, you can go to Chrome or Firefox and install the tool called Mozbar, which will just give you free domain authority metrics. So any page you go to, you have the Mozbar installed. It'll tell you what the domain authority is. Okay, so let's say you've used some of those tools, and I know we're kind of breezing through exactly how to build that prospecting list, because this is kind of an overarching webinar that talks about the overall process. So we don't want to drill in too deep into any one particular one. I really want to give you as much information as possible so your mind starts going in the right direction in terms of what all the steps are here. So let's say you have a big list. You created an Excel file, you have all these websites, you've filtered them, and you've got a list of 500 sites you want to reach out to. Great. Now you have to find out how to reach out to them, right? And right now, email is probably the easiest way. You can do social media, but people check their email. Not everyone's checking their social media. So I found that Hunter.io is a really great tool for putting in a website address and finding out if there's any emails that can be scraped from that page or from that website in general. You go to Hunter.io, they have a free plan. You can get 150 searches a month. You can get some pretty good juice out of that. Here's what the tool looks like pretty simply. If you put in OutreachMama.com, somehow they know that AJ at OutreachMama, Wendy exists, orders, info at OutreachMama. The only actual email that I have on the website is orders at OutreachMama. So somehow they were able to find the rest of them. So they're able to do some cool stuff. I don't know how they do it, but this will save you a ton of time because they have a propensity to find a lot of emails and a mixture of personal and non-personal emails. Okay. So now you've got a prospecting list and you've got emails to reach out to. But let's talk about one little complication in the whole thing. If you're a local business, and I'm sure there's a few of you out there, I looked at the, I can't see the chat box at the moment. But I did see earlier on that there's a few people here that I know run some local businesses. Building local links is pretty challenging. You know, being in this SEO game for several years, I understand that, and we struggled with it with custom outreach for a long time. However, there's a process that we came across, and it actually works pretty well. And I'm going to show you what that process is real quick. So, you know, let's say we have this this client, which we did in Ocean City. It was a hotel, and we created this infographic, and we wanted to promote it. We wanted to have other local businesses publish that infographic on their website and link back to our client's website, right? So we wanted to build a bunch of Ocean City related backlinks because that'll help with relevance. And we were competing with like Expedia and Travelocity. So we needed all the local mojo that we could get. Manual prospecting would have taken us days upon days, but with Dibs, since we wanted to reach out to other local businesses, we went to Google. I typed in, you know, types of local businesses. I found a list of like 3,000 business types. We got restaurants, talent agencies, tanning salons, taxis, what have you. We got a big list of like 1,000 different types of companies. And then we added the word Ocean City to it. So now we put this into Dibs, which remember I showed you that software a little earlier. We put it into Dibs, and Dibs did its thing, and it came back with like 10 billion websites, and it filtered. We found the ones that had authority. We were able to get some of the emails from Dibs. The ones that Dibs couldn't find, we used Hunter, or we did them manually. And now we had this huge list of local businesses to reach out to. Within just a couple hours, something that would have taken days upon days to build, right? And that's something we can reach out to. And if our offer was compelling enough, and thankfully our infographic was very compelling, we ended up driving a lot of links that way. And that trickle down effect is more links equals more SEO authority equals better rankings. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, so let's put a pause on the prospecting for a little bit. All right, let's put a pause on that, and let's talk about what we do when we have a list. And at the end of the day, you know, list building really is a game of numbers, or link building really is a game of numbers. So you got to come up with a compelling pitch that several people are going to want to reach out to. Okay, and that means you're going to have to reach out to a lot of people. And I understand that when it comes to cold emailing, a lot of people they're really afraid of rejection, and that's what makes them over-explain their pitch or sound really desperate. And you just have to come to the realization that there will be negative answers, there will be negative responses along with several positive ones, and that's just the name of the game. So, you know, get over that fear, get over that hurdle, and start doing outreach, because the links will come. Now, when it comes to writing the actual email, I'll be the first one to admit that, you know, years ago when I was tinkering with this stuff, the initial pitches just were not compelling at all. And after lots of reading on persuasion, I came across this book called The Art of Persuasion. And if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend checking it out. And the general idea of the book revolves around the fact that there are subtle things that you can say or write to get people to come around to what you want, right? This book in the wrong hands, it can be a little dangerous. But this book in our hands just means that we can build better white hat links. And the key to the book is really the reciprocity principle. Psychologically, if you give someone something, they're compelled to give you something in return. You know, even if they see right through what you're trying to do, the fact that you still bothered providing value to them separates you from 99% of people that are your competitors. And the thing is, most link builders, they don't think that way, right? They don't think about providing value first. They'll ask for something, but really it's a two-way street. What's in it for the blogger with these outreach pitches? And if you do have some kind of barter or some kind of offer, is it compelling enough for them to actually respond? So the reciprocity principle, it's a consideration that will make or break your pitch. And the importance of providing value is significantly underestimated. And that's why my pitches failed at first, and it's why they're successful now. Okay, so after reading the book and trying out hundreds of different outreach emails, here's some common sense things that you want to be aware of when you're writing a pitch. As brief as possible, but obviously not too brief. Okay? Formatting, make sure your spacing is okay. Nobody wants to see a sloppy email. If you're doing introductions or you're linking to other links in your email, just limit it to at least 3 links. Anything more than that, it looks spammy, it'll trigger spam filters, and most importantly, provide some value. Right? And here's some examples of one of our outreach emails that we've used for our client. So here's an example, and let's go through this. Okay, it says, one of my colleagues recommended me this article, XYZ, and on your blog, and I loved it. So here, there's a reason why they're reaching out, and it's customized and it's padding the ego a little bit. Okay. And the next line is, I flipped the article onto our Flipboard magazine as it fits really well. Flipboard is like a free online magazine. It's not that big of a deal that he flipped it, but the fact that he actually did something about, saying that not only did he like it, but he actually did something because he liked it. It separates him from every other pitch I've seen already. Now, here we get into the actual ask, which is, we actually produced an in-depth article here. Would you mind sharing it in one of your posts? So he's basically saying, here's a real reason why I'm reaching out. I produced this article, and I'd love you to add a link to this article in one of your articles. All right, that's very simple, very straightforward, easy to understand. And then he ends it with saying, finally, I'd be happy to share the article in one of our blog posts, which reaches 80,000 readers a month. Okay, so here they're offering additional reciprocation. So I'm actually getting more out of it. So if the reason, so it's, you provide the reason for emailing, then you talk about the value you already provided. Then you ask about what you want, and then you talk about the additional value you can provide on top of it. Right? That's a really, really compelling email. And depending on what your assets are, maybe you don't have a massive blog, or maybe you don't want to feature them on your blog, right? Maybe you just want a one-way link. There's different ways you can go about this, the same ask. So maybe you're doing a roundup. You could ask them for a quote. Maybe you're working on an article and you want to see if they want to collaborate on the content. Maybe you want to interview them. Maybe you have a resource list and you want to add their website to it, or something as simple as a Flipboard would work. But just think about the value you can offer first. Here's another example, a simple reason why they're reaching out. So this is an email that we actually do on behalf of a client. We say we're emailing on behalf of XYZ, and we're reaching out to bloggers in the wedding space because we'd love for them to do a guest post on our client's blog. And we talk about how popular the blog is, and we ask them if they're interested. This is kind of a two-part strategy, because in the first email, we just offer value, and this is real value. These bloggers fall over themselves, and they create amazing long-form content for us completely for free. And then in exchange, they're happy to take part in any exchange or any type of reciprocity that we're looking for. So that's another example where you don't have to put the whole pitch into one email. Okay, so that's kind of an example of how to come up with pitches. Okay, I'm going to keep powering through here because I think we're about halfway through the webinar. We're about halfway through the slides, so let's keep going. So you got the list, you've got a pitch, and now you need to think about, well, what are you going to use to actually send the emails, right? Is it going to be Gmail? Is it not going to be Gmail? When you're starting off small, I think Gmail is fine. And at the end of the day, Gmail comes from highly trusted servers and IP addresses. So your deliverability will actually be much higher by using something like a Gmail. And whether you want to do your name at gmail.com, it's usually better to do your name at your domain name and pair it through Google Apps, because people like seeing emails coming from your company domain name. And at the end of the day, we're not spamming here. We're reaching out to a curated list, and that means our deliverability will go high and stay high because they're probably going to respond positively. So Gmail inbox is one thing, right? But we talk about scale. We talk about how to be more efficient with our time. And that means if you're starting off or you're a solopreneur and you don't want to spend too much money, there's a few options that you can use completely for free or really, really inexpensively. Boomerang is one of them. You send an email, it reminds you to send a follow-up later. Because in this game, it's all about the follow-up. If you only send one email to 100 people, you might get 2 responses. If you send one email plus 5 follow-ups to 100 people, you're going to end up with 20 responses or 30 responses. That's just how it works. So Boomerang is good if you want to, semi-manual with follow-ups. Rebump is my gold standard, because not only can you send the first email manually, okay, but if you BCC Rebump, it'll automatically follow up 5 times. It'll say things like, just making sure you got my email. Hey, just checking in. And eventually you keep bumping, and at some point the business owner will respond because, well, they appreciate persistence. We get it all the time that people appreciate our persistence, when really what we're doing is using a tool like Rebump. Okay, and follow up then is another feature similar to Boomerang. So those are some manual plus hybrid automation tools that you can look at. And now we can talk about some more advanced things. When you're ready to take it to the next level, if you've got some budget, what you want to start using are cold prospecting automation tools. There's some software out there that's made specifically for link building. Things like BuzzStream, Pitchbox, Ninja Outreach. I personally have found that cold email for link building, like those softwares, companies haven't really figured it out just yet. Who's really got it dialed in are the softwares that focus on cold outbound sales, because that's the hardest thing to do. And if they can do well with cold outbound sales, then the same software applied to link building is 10 times easier. So here's the power of what cold outreach tools allow you to do. And I'll get into some names in a bit. You can create full email templates. The initial plus follow-ups. You can dictate how long to wait between each email. You can automate all the follow-ups. You can check for deliverability and bounce rate. You don't need to have a proven subscriber list because it's made for cold emails. You don't have to have an unsubscribe button because that generally reduces your response rates. And you can control the number of emails you send per day. So if you have a list of 100, you could set it so you only send 5 a day, which is more natural for your inbox. Here's some examples of software that you can use. There's QuickMail, there's Woodpecker, there's Mailshake. Each one of these, when set up right with your prospecting list, with your pitch, if you pair it up with one of these softwares, you will literally save hours and hours a day with your cold outreach. And because there's automated follow-ups, you're going to get 10 times the responses that you were getting before. And what's the thing that we talked about earlier? We said just one link a day for 6 months turns you into an authority site, right? One link a day is not that hard to achieve when you have a system like this, which is predicated on quality plus automation, right? And one of the reasons why I like QuickMail is straightforward. You can import the list that you built through Google Sheets. You can set up the email sequence easily. You can use those little title tags or those token tags or whatever, just to, if you have an Excel sheet and you have the first name in one column, you have the email in the next column, you have the website in the next column, then you can use tokens to kind of pair everything up and make the emails look custom. Okay, the major advantage here is that you can just send plain emails like you were sending it through your Gmail inbox. There's no headers or social icons or unsubscribe buttons. It just looks like you're sending it manually yourself, which that by itself just increases the response rates. Okay. And it's dead simple. It's made by a guy. You can tell it was made by a guy who's tired of all the bloated outreach software out there. And he just made something that's super simple and super streamlined. Yeah, these are some other tools that my team recommended. I haven't tried them out yet, but you're more than welcome to. I think Woodpecker is a little cheaper than Close.io. I've looked at the functionality. It seems pretty good. I don't know much about Mailshake, but that's another popular option out there. Okay, so let's get into why I didn't stop at Close, or why I didn't stop at QuickMail, and why I'm now introducing a combo of Close.io. So what we were running into is the blogger outreach tools that are currently on the market. They're not made by sales professionals. And really what blogger outreach is it's sales. It's making a compelling offer, being likable, and it's following up. And you have to stay organized, right? Because you have to follow up, you have to stay organized. A lot of these blogger outreach softwares, they miss the mark on it. I've tried them all. So when I discovered Close and I paired up QuickMail.io with Close.io via like something like Zapier, our link acquisitions and our positive outcomes actually went up 5-fold. So because Close.io it's very organized and it's very filterable for warm leads. So we build up a prospecting list, we write the emails, we load it up into QuickMail, and anyone that responds positively automatically gets deposited into the Close.io workflow, which is where we can categorize the opportunities and get the deal completed. So here's a quick Close.io workflow. It looks just like a Gmail inbox because it kind of is, but you can sort it by leads, the opportunities within those leads, and then you can filter by a certain project or a certain outreach campaign. You can set tasks and addition and automated reminders. The whole thing is very, very streamlined. So that's the software stack. Okay, now when it comes to actually speaking with the bloggers and the people that respond positively, well, your job isn't done yet until you have the link, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is, and a lot of times someone who's not really skilled with speaking with people or with being friendly and getting the deal done, creating a deal that's positive for both parties is, they're not used to speaking with bloggers who are of different types of people. Some bloggers are not SEO savvy. Some bloggers know a little bit about link building and know what you're trying to do. And there's some people that are complete experts. So if you reach out to somebody that's not really that SEO savvy, but they have a blog and they built up a good domain authority, and they did it just naturally, but they'll be receptive to your email, but they won't really get the idea of what you're trying to do. So you've got to explain it to them and rephrase and kind of explain the value proposition again. So here's an example. We're working on a client, and they're looking for further details on what you're looking for. So you just kind of break it down and be a little bit more simplistic. And if you email me after the webinar, I'll give you some of the email templates that you can use to help explain it and break it down for the various types of people who are going to be using it. And then you'll run into people who are a little bit more knowledgeable about link building, and they'll understand the idea behind the pitch. And the important things to discuss is that if your link is going to be do follow or no follow, and the more attractive your reciprocation is going to be, the more likely they are to place your links. And if it's really attractive, a lot of these bloggers are looking for money, but the more attractive you can make your reciprocation, the less money you'll have to pay for bloggers. Okay. And then the third type is the link building expert, and they can see right through you. They can see right through your value proposition, your pitch. They already know your domain authority before reading the email, and these are the type of guys that they pretty much have these websites specifically for this purpose of getting reached out to and getting paid for their blogs. So sometimes they have good websites, but sometimes their metrics are overblown and just for the sake of SEO. So these are the kind of websites you want to look out for. So if they've got a sponsorship sheet, if they've got all their metrics like trust flow, majestic, citation flow, domain authority, all that stuff set up, you want to be a little bit more careful with it. Okay, and here's an example of an email, and they talk about discounts. They talk about what you need to do to move forward, and they're just more generally open to opportunities, but with a certain clause involved. So we've got a few more minutes here, okay? And I wanted to have a few bonus sections because we've gone through the general process of how to build positive opportunities, but once you have a positive opportunity, I don't know how many of you out there are writers, but for me, writing an article takes a long time. For some people, it comes second nature, which is freaking phenomenal, because if you can do this outreach, then you'll be at the point where you can just bust out guest posts and write really premium content and generate lots of links and do it all yourself, which is great. But for the rest of us who maybe aren't the biggest writers, or they like writing, but they just don't have time for it, you can absolutely outsource the writing part. And there's places out there that allow you to do that. Here's a few of them that are listed here. This one looks like a typo. It should be constantcontent.com. And while those can be good, a lot of these opportunities actually require higher quality, right? So you want to identify a freelancer that you can work with regularly, someone who can learn the way that you like things to be written. And you can find these people on various job boards. Outsourcely, we work remotely, Remote.io, JobRack, ProBlogger is another really good one. You can check out Facebook groups like Cult of Copy has some really good writers. The better your ghostwriter, or the better your own content, the more likely you are to get accepted by all of these different websites. Okay, so you can handle the writing that way. And then there's one other consideration here that I think is really important. And it's so important, in fact, that we're currently building software around it, because building links, building high quality links, that can get you to the promised land. But if you're not doing it with the right strategy, A, you might not get results at all, or B, those results will take really long, or C, worst case scenario, you actually end up hurting yourself and hurting your rankings. So who here understands the concept of anchor text? Just real quick, I'm going to go to the OutreachMama blog. And here's a page that we launched about 2 months ago. If you look through the page, you'll see we've got 50 top link building tools. And throughout the article, we link to various people or various websites. Each one of these links is considered anchor text. Okay. And as a quick aside, by the way, so we launched this page about 2 months ago. When you Google something like link building software, OutreachMama is already top 3. And where Jacob King is a massive authority site. Ninja Outreach has been for a long time. Top SEO is a major authority site. You got BuzzStream, which is a big blogger outreach software. You got Moz up here. So we actually leapfrogged a lot of these competitors using the exact formula that I just showed you. Right? So what you're learning here works really, really well. And once we launched this article, and it was, I think, 4,000 words. We designed it really nice, made it look good. And we did blogger outreach to drive 34 links. And we're working on more. And so you don't need hundreds of links to rank for an internal page, to rank your website, you just need really a handful of quality links, because your competitors aren't taking the time to do this. So if you focus on really high quality long form content, and you build some links to it using custom blogger outreach, within just a few months, you're going to have the results that you're looking for. So that's what anchor text is. And one of the important things to realize is that years ago, you could build, if my keyword was link building software, I could have gone out there and just built link building software as an anchor text a dozen times. And that would have allowed me to rank #1 pretty quickly. And I could have used an automated software. I could have gone on Fiverr and built a bunch of links, but that doesn't really work anymore. So you need to be really careful with the anchor text of the links that you build. So here's the anchor text of the links that are pointing to my site. Okay, so that means a blogger. Here, let me give you an example, just to break this down in case there's any confusion whatsoever. So here's an example of a link from Marketing Labs. Okay, and we reach out to them. We saw this article, and we made a compelling offer, and that made them happy to update this article with a link to our site. And this article already had SEO authority. It was already established. And here's the anchor text they use. So they said, here's a guide explaining best tools to help you build links. So they didn't use the anchor text link building tools. They used this semi-sentence. And what's powerful about this is that it still includes the word best tools, build links. Those are all part of my keywords, but it doesn't say link building tools, because that's really not how you can naturally build links. And you can see we took that approach, and each one of these anchor texts are very different. This is an example of a title anchor text. This is an example of a natural anchor text. This is an example of a partial match keyword anchor text. So there's a variety of them. And this wasn't done blindly or haphazardly. We had an end-to-end plan that we plotted out before even starting this page, where we said, we're going to create this long form piece of content. We're going to build 50 links to it. And this is the anchor text of those 50 links. So what we're working on as a software, which is launching in about a month, is as a customer, you can put in your URL, you can put in the keyword that you want, and then you'll get the exact roadmap of anchor text that you should build. And then using a strategy like the one I just showed you, you can go out there and build it. Now, that software is going to be completely free. It's going to revolutionize our own internal processes because we have to build so many links. But I wanted to make it available for free for the people that attended this webinar. So make sure at the end of this webinar, give me a shout, ajay@outreachmama.com. Let me know you want to be a part of the free beta, and you'll have a free account that you can start building links the same way we do. Okay, let's round out the presentation now. And we talked about some of those anchor texts, right? And here's kind of a list. It's really 13, and there's branded, there's generic, there's naked. We're going to have definitions for all of these, which I don't want to get into this moment unless you ask me to. But that's really about it when it comes to the simple formula for building an authority site and how to do it at scale, and then the strategies to use for link planning to actually get results. Okay, so I'm going to pause it there for a second. If you've got questions, I'm happy to if you've got one. I know it's a lot to digest here. I know there's a lot of info, and we kind of went through the strategy that it took me personally 2 years to really iron out. Because it's not just about sending emails. It's not just about outreach. It's about a tailored way to reach out to your bloggers and create something that's compelling enough for them to actually want to engage with your content. Okay. So I had a question here. It says, how long does it actually take for a brand new blogger outreach campaign to pay off? Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. And I hate the it depends answer as much as anybody, but unfortunately it does depend. It depends on a lot of different factors, right? Most of them, or mostly it's competition and it's the newness of your site. So let's say, for example, you've got a brand new site and you're selling, I don't know, garage door openers. Okay. And you have the best damn garage door opener on the planet. And your website is just about garage door openers. So you go to Google and you type in garage door opener and you see who's on page 1. And what you're looking for is, you're not looking for the Amazon.com listing or the Target listing. You're looking for the small guy who also has garage openers that he's selling on his site. And go to Ahrefs, look at his backlinks. If he's got 100 backlinks, you probably need to get 100 backlinks. And then the question becomes, how long will it take you to build 100 backlinks? And then Google has a trust factor in it as well. Whereas if your competitor has been around for 5 years with 100 backlinks and you get 100 backlinks in just 6 months, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to rocket up to page 1, because time and trust is also a factor for Google. But as long as you're patient, you probably get there. If you equal out your metrics, you probably get there in 6 months to a year. Okay, so another question is, do you have an objection handler for these folks who are only there for paid link opportunities? Do you normally end up paying them, or do you have a workaround? That's a really good question, and it comes down to how compelling the offer is most of the time. Sometimes the blogger, he couldn't care less about whatever offer you have. The only thing that means anything to him is the money. And sometimes that's fine, depending on the authority of the website. If it's got good metrics, and he wants, $50, $100, $200, depending on the site, then there will be times when I say, okay, I'll do it. But oftentimes the type of bloggers we reach out to for this are the ones that own real sites and have real reasons. They have audiences and they want to deliver good content and they want to promote themselves. So if you can offer them something that's compelling enough for those real bloggers, then you don't need to pay. But sometimes you just can't get around it. Another question, are anchor text profiles important for new sites as well? That's a really good question as well, because when somebody starts a new site, they're really antsy to get results, right? They might have spent a couple $1,000s on a brand new site. Let's say they're a plumber in New Jersey, and their website is bobsplumbing.com. So they look at the competitors on page 1 and they're like, oh, Joe's Plumbing has like 20 links. Like Maria's Plumbing Co. has like 35 links. Like, no big deal. I can totally get that. And then you'll build some links. You'll go out there. And if you're working with an inexperienced SEO agency, or maybe you're doing it yourself, what used to work 5 years ago is that all the anchor text would be NJ Plumber, NJ Plumber, NJ Plumbing Company, NJ Plumbing Service. And you just spam the hell out of that keyword, and then you'd rank up to page 1 magically. Well, if you look at those top rankings now, you'll probably notice that most of the backlink profiles for those websites, they don't really have keywords in the anchor text profile that much. They have more branding. And it's because they did it the right way, where the first 6 months of the campaign, yes, they were worried about their anchor text profile, but they were worried about their branded anchor text profile. Like, if you look at the OutreachMama website, if you look at the just the backlinks of the anchor text. The number one anchor text is going right to the homepage, and it's just Outreach Mama. That's 62% of my referring domains. 11% is just naked. Another 6% is just it without the www. So this is all branding. And honestly, we haven't focused on keyword anchor text much at all. And that's kind of what you want to focus on as a brand new site. Okay. And final question, because we're running out of time, is how many links per month should be natural for a new national website to grow their authority? A lot of people worry about link velocity because they have this thing in their head that says if you have an unnatural link velocity, then Google will penalize you. Like there's no way why a website should be generating 100, 200, 300 backlinks a month, and the only way that's happening is because they're spamming. It's very likely that the reason why it's happening is because they're spamming, but there's also other reasons why it could happen as well. Maybe that website launched with a really strong PR campaign, right? And they were featured everywhere, and then they got syndicated everywhere, and they generated a ton of links. Google's not going out there penalizing those guys. They're rewarding those guys. So in that case, tons of links actually made a huge impact. When OutreachMama launched, we got to about 500 links in 6 months or so, and it hasn't hurt our rankings at all. And most people would consider that a crazy amount of links. But it's not, as long as the links are high quality. So, you don't need 100 links a month. You really don't. If you have a brand new site, you probably should be trying to get as many links as you can in the beginning because Google just takes a long time to ramp up. And the more authority, the more branded authority you can build up front, the more easier it is going to be to rank your keywords. Why did link building software rank so high so quickly for us? It's not because we built those 40 links, although that obviously helped. It's because we spent 8 months building up the branding of the overall site. And then we established thematic relevance for anything related to link building and guest posting. And then that allowed us to launch other pages in the same topic field and rank pretty quickly with much less links. That's kind of how it works. Okay, so we're about out of time here. I'd like to thank everybody for joining this webinar, for participating. I hope you got something out of it. We're actually planning on launching these on a weekly basis. Sometimes it'll just be me. Sometimes I'd love to have some experts on board, other marketers. I'd like to make this about link building, but also about building authority sites and building businesses. So, if any of you want to have a joint webinar with me, just reach out to aj@outreachmama.com. If any of you had some questions that I didn't get a chance to answer, reach out to me at outreachmama.com. I hope you guys got something out of this, and looking forward to hearing from you guys and seeing you on the next webinar.